Hello y'all and welcome back. So we're considering the view that the universe exists forever into the past, that it extends forever into the past, a view which commits its proponent to belief in an actual infinite. And as we've seen in the previous video, this is a problematic belief. But there's an even stiffer challenge to this particular view that comes from modern science. So, Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity admits no static cosmological solutions. In other words, space has to be expanding or shrinking according to this theory. In 1927, the Belgian mathematician and astronomer Georges Lemaître developed a model of the universe according to which the universe is expanding as time goes forward. Space itself is expanding outward, consistent with Einstein's equations in his theory of general relativity. And this was given further empirical confirmation in 1929 when the American astronomer Edwin Hubble observed the phenomenon of red shift in the night sky, namely that the wavelength of light emerging from certain heavenly bodies was redder, that's to say less intense, more stretched out, less white, than he would have predicted, even though he knew that they were not moving in an absolute way away from each other, him and the object. They were moving in a relative way, in just the way that Einstein's equations would have predicted and that Lemaître's model would have had it. In other words, if you want to picture, and I'll borrow this illustration from another philosopher here, take a balloon and you glue buttons on the outside of that balloon and then blow the balloon up. The buttons are going to be moving away from each other, but they're not going to be moving because you unglue them and move them to a farther part of the balloon. They're not moving, in other words, in an absolute way. They're not moving at all. But they are moving in a relative way because the space that they inhabit is itself expanding. That's the way that things in the universe are moving relative to one another on this theory. Now, this quickly became the dominant cosmological or space-time model, and it was given the derisive nickname by the English astronomer Fred Hoyle, the Big Bang theory. He said the universe just started in a Big Bang. And this is because if space is expanding as time goes forward, as you go farther back in time, space contracts to a point where it is literally an adimensional point, and then before that there's nothing at all. And of course, the model here doesn't have a point. It has kind of a curve on the bottom. But the point is there's a beginning. There's a single first moment when everything pops into being. Okay? And then space expands outward from that. As time progresses, space expands out. Now, this is still our dominant cosmological model. The Big Bang Theory is still our best cosmological model. But according to our best cosmology, according to our best science, the universe has a beginning. The universe doesn't extend just forever back into the past, time without end back into the past. The universe has a beginning, time has a beginning, space has a beginning, and you can't hold that the universe just extends forever into the past. So, not only are there grave concerns based on the nature of infinity and the incoherence of an actual infinite to this view that the universe extends forever into the past, our best science also dictates that this is not the correct view. So to hold that the universe extends forever into the past is to go against math and logic, because it's to hold this kind of illogical or self-contradictory view, this notion of an actual infinite. But it's also to go against our best scientific theory, this Big Bang cosmology. So, if we have ruled out all the other alternatives, all the other possible answers to the question, where did the universe come from? And the only one left standing is God made it, then it would seem that we are rationally obligated to accept the view that God made the universe. Now you might object, well, not so fast. You still need to explain where God comes from, which is true. So I could say, well, look, God in his nature is not the kind of being that was ever created. God is eternal. So God is outside space, outside time, has never been created. So in time, God exists throughout all time, but God is also outside time and eternal. And the atheist might say, well, this is special pleading. You're saying that your being doesn't need to be created, but the universe does need to be created. And you can't do that. But the response that I would give is, this is just the nature of God. What it is to believe in God is to believe in a being that is eternal, to believe in a being that is outside time and created space and time. The atheist could say, well, I'm going to claim that for my thing too. But the problem is you can't claim that, because what you're claiming, what you're trying to explain, is the universe, and the universe just is all of space and time. And you can't claim for space and time that it's outside space and time and eternal, because space and time precisely is what you're trying to explain. You can't claim that it's outside itself. So it's not special pleading, it's just describing the thing that you believe in, God, which I truly believe constitutes the best explanation for the universe, given that you've considered all the other explanations and that they all fail in some really noticeable way. Now, I'm a theist. If somebody asks me, why are you a theist? Present your reasons. I think I would have to present these reasons that I've given here. This really is my reason. I see no possible explanation for the universe's existence other than God that really holds any water. And I've tried to do justice to the different views to really give them a run for their money here. This is not to say that the view of God is perfect in every way, or that the theory of God doesn't admit of any concerns. It certainly does, and we'll consider those as we consider the problem of evil. But it's just to say that as an explanation for the existence of the universe, I believe that God made it is by far the least problematic response that you can give. So, we will consider in the next unit the problem of evil, which is a concern about the existence of God, about the nature of God. But for now, I'll leave it there as we have wrapped up our discussion of the cosmological argument and the answer to the question, where did the universe come from? Thanks.